Beloved, today into a controversial area, beloved, I want to speak to you about a mystery many of us face. Why did I miss God's blessing in this past season? We prayed, we sang, we declared, yet when September closed, some of us looked back and said, Lord, where was the harvest you promised me? Listen carefully. God never withholds his blessings without reason. His principles are eternal. His promises are sure. If there was a delay or a blockage, the problem was never with God. It was with our alignment. One, misalignment with divine timing. Every blessing is attached to timing. God has set seasons for your breakthrough. September into a controversial area opportunities. September opportunities that were assigned to you. I want it to a controversial area, but if you were distracted, if you were waiting for convenience instead of obedience, I want to wait again into a controversial area. You may have missed your moment. Blessings are like buses. They arrive at appointed stops. If you are controvert standing where God told you to stand, you watch others get on while you are left behind. 2, neglect of preparation. Preparation is proof of expectation. Many of us prayed for blessings, but never prepared room for them. We asked God for increase, but we kept the same mindset, the same habits, the same circles. Hear me. God will never pour new wine into old wineskins. Into a controversial area, if you don't prepare the vessel, the blessing cannot be sustained. I want to wade again into a controversial area. Could it be that September's blessing passed you by because you were not ready to carry it? 3, unforgiveness and unforgiveness. One of the greatest blockages to divine blessing is a heart chained by offense. You cannot expect heaven's favor while holding bitterness against your brother or sister. Unforgiveness is like rust. It eats away silently until your spiritual pipes are clogged. The blessing was released. I want to weigh again into a controversial area, but it could not flow to you because your spirit was blocked. 4, failure to recognize small beginnings. Sometimes the blessing did come, but you missed it because it was disguised as a seed. You were looking for a harvest, but God gave you a seed to plant. You controversial area, you were expecting a finished house, but God handed you bricks. September's blessing may not have looked like the miracle, the miracle you an opportunity. It looked like an opportunity, a connection, a small door, and because it didn't look big enough, you ignored it. 5, lack of consistency in obedience. Obedience is not occasional, it is continual. I want to wait a controversial area. Many of us obey when it is convenient, but God honors consistency. A blessing delayed is not always a blessing denied. Sometimes it is a blessing waiting for your obedience to mature. Disobedience in one area can cancel the blessing in another. You cannot pray for financial increase while robbing God in tithes and offerings. You cannot ask for healing while dishonoring the temple of your body. 6, the absence of gratitude. The gratitude is the magnet of heaven. When you thank God for what you have, you qualify for more. Some of us missed September's blessing because we complained through the month instead of praising. I want to wade again into a controversial area. God will never entrust more to a heart that despises the little it already has. Closing exhortation, my friend, the blessing was not lost. It was delayed until you realign. God is a redeemer of times and seasons. If you will repent, prepare, forgive, recognize small beginnings, walk in obedience. I want to wade again into a controversial area and cultivate gratitude. You will recover what September tried to deliver. I want to wade again into a controversial area. The same God who appoints seasons can restore what was missed. October can carry the blessing September attempted to release. But you must be positioned. Don't let another month pass you by. But you must be pursued by or controversially align your life with God's principles. For when principles are honored, blessings are inevitable. Divine timing is one of the most overlooked principles in the life of a believer, yet it is the very foundation of why blessings are either manifested or missed, or blessings are either manifested or missed. I want to weigh again into a controversial area. God is a God of order, not confusion. He moves according to seasons, and every promise He makes has an appointed time. When the Word declares in Ecclesiastes that there is a time for every purpose under heaven, it reminds us that even blessings are tied to God's calendar. I want to wade into a controversial area. You cannot rush them, and you cannot delay them once you are aligned. The issue comes when we, as God's children, I want to wade again into a controversial area, are not standing in the right place or in the right posture at the right time. Blessings are like trains pulling into a station. They do not wait for those who are absent. They arrive on schedule and depart on schedule. If you are not prepared and present, when the blessing arrives, you will watch it pass you by. Many people prayed throughout September, fasted. I want to wade again into a controversial area, declared and believed, yet when the month came to an end, they felt empty. I want to wade again into a controversial area, questioning why nothing changed. The reality is not that God did not answer. I want to wade again into a controversial area, effervescing area, but that the timing of His blessing required a certain positioning of your heart into a controversial area, and your actions, your mind and your actions. Some missed the blessing because they were distracted. I want to wade again into a controversial area. They were looking at the wrong opportunities, running after the wrong people. I want to wade again into a controversial area, waiting for convenience instead of obedience. I want to wade again into a controversial area. God's blessings rarely come when it is comfortable. They come when it is necessary. I want to wade again into a controversial area. Obedience often demands movement at an inconvenient time. I want to wade again into a controversial area. Think about the fishermen on the Sea of Galilee. They toiled all night and caught nothing. But at the word of Jesus, they cast their nets again and reaped a harvest too great for their boats. I want to wade again into a controversial area. The miracle was not in their strength, but in their alignment with divine timing. Had they refused to cast their nets at that precise moment, they would have missed their blessing. Timing also requires discernment. I want to wade again into a controversial area. Not every open door is God's door, and not every opportunity is from heaven. Sometimes the enemy into a controversial area. Sometimes a counterfeit door to distract you from the appointed one. When you, controversial area, when you do not discern the season, again, you waste energy knocking on doors that were never meant for you. I want to wade again into a controversial area while the true door closes because you were absent when God called you to walk through it. September carried unique opportunities for some. It may have been the moment to sow a seed, forgive a wrong, take a step of faith, or release an old habit. Yet many were too busy waiting for a dramatic sign. Want to wade into a controversial area, ignoring the small nudge of the Spirit. By the time they realized it, the season had shifted. Divine timing is about sensitivity to the whispers of God, not just the shouts. I want to wade again into controversies. Another reason blessings tied to timing are missed is procrastination. God may have, into a controversial area, God may have given an instruction early in the month. Start the business. Make the call, apply for the position, sow the seed. But you delayed. You said, I want to wade again into a controversial area tomorrow. But when tomorrow came, the moment had already passed. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. The Israelites who doubted when God told them to take the promised land lost their chance. When they controversial area tried to go in, God told them not to, and they were defeated. Why? Because the blessing was tied to a moment, and that moment had expired. September may have carried blessings into a controversial area, but some were lost simply because procrastination robbed people of their timing. We must understand that controversial area, God's blessings do not just fall randomly. I want to wade into a controversial area. They are scheduled. Think of the story of the 5 wise and five foolish virgins. I want to get into a controversial area. All 10 were waiting for the bridegroom, but only 5 were prepared when he arrived. The other 5 missed their moment. I want to wade again into a controversial area, not because the bridegroom did not come. I want to wade again into a controversial area because they were not ready at the right time. Timing requires readiness. It requires a life of alertness because blessings do not knock twice. I want to wade again into a controversial area. They demand that you be where I told you to be when he told you to be there. Divine timing also means trusting God's process. Sometimes you think He is late. I want to weigh again into a controversial area, but He is always on time. The challenge is that His clock is not your clock. What you call a delay, He calls preparation. What you see as waiting, He sees as alignment. Some missed their September blessing because they grew impatient. They grew impatient and moved ahead of God. They forced doors open spoken instead of letting Him open them. When you move outside God's timing, you may get what that you want into a controversial area, but you will lose what you need. Abraham's impatience with God's promise, which promised to Ishmael instead of Isaac. The blessings still came, but the delay and pain were unnecessary. To a controversial area, to never miss another blessing, you must align yourself with divine timing. Stay sensitive to God's Spirit. Remain consistent in obedience. Keep your heart free of distraction and learn to move when He says move. Do not wait for convenience, because miracles are rarely convenient. They are timely. And when the clock of heaven strikes, if you are positioned, I want to wait again into a nothing can stop what God has appointed for you. Preparation is the secret evidence of faith, the unseen foundation upon which blessings are built. Many gain into people pray with passion, cry with sincerity, and declare with boldness. But when heaven inspects their lives, there is no vessel ready to receive what they are asking for. A farmer does not wait until the rain begins before breaking the ground. He plows, sows, and prepares into controversial areas in anticipation of what is coming. In the same way, when God intends to release a blessing, I want to wait again into a controversial area. He looks for those who have made room for it. I want to wait again into a controversial area. September may have been filled with divine opportunities. I want to wait again into a controversial area, but if you were not prepared, the blessing passed over you. Preparations proves expectation. If you truly believe God is going to send increase, your life will show evidence of readiness. Too many people want abundance, but live with a scarcity mindset. I want to wade again into a controversial area. They want promotion but refuse to discipline themselves for greater responsibility. They want financial overflow but cannot handle the little they already have with wisdom. They want relationships that are healthy and fruitful, yet they carry bitterness and mistrust from the past. Preparation is not just external, it is internal. It is internal. It is the transformation of your thinking, your habits, and into a controversial area, and your character, so that when the blessing arrives, it does not destroy you, but builds you. Imagine a man praying for rain, but never planting seed. When the rain falls, he can only watch the water soak into empty soil. Another man, however, has already planted. To him, the same rain becomes harvest. Both experienced the same season, but only the prepared one benefited. That is how blessings work. They are universal in their release. I want to a controversial area, but they are personal in their manifestation. I want to wade again into a controversial area. You cannot reap from a field you never prepared. Some missed September's blessing because they were asking for things, because they were asking for things they did not prepare their lives to sustain. Asking God for a house when you cannot yet manage an apartment is asking for frustration. Seeking financial overflow while ignoring stewardship is like pouring water into a leaking bucket. Praying for marriage while refusing to grow in patience and understanding is setting yourself up for disappointment. God in His mercy will often withhold what you are not ready for, because what you cannot handle will crush you. The delay is not punishment. It is protection until your preparation catches up with your request. Preparation also involves letting go of what no longer serves your destiny. Some blessings cannot fit into old wineskins. I want to wait again wanted to release something new in September, but some were still clinging to past relationships, old habits. I want to wade again into a controversial area, or limited thinking. The blessing was available, but there was no room to receive it. Preparation requires pruning. And to reconquer a controversial area, it requires the courage to release good things so that better things can come. Many hold on to comfort zones, yet blessings are often hidden in uncomfortable places. You cannot expect God to enlarge your territory while refusing to move from the small ground you are used to. Another key dimension of preparation is excellence. I want to wade again into a controversial area. God blesses those who handle the Lord with diligence. Think about Joseph in Potiphar's house. Even as a slave, I want to weigh again into a controversial area. He managed everything with excellence. His preparation in obscurity positioned him for elevation in the palace. Some are controversial area. Some are waiting for visibility before they prepare, but that is backwards. Preparation in the dark is what qualifies you for blessing in the light. If you waste area, if you waste time, gifts, ifs, and opportunities in the small stages of life, I want to weigh again into a controversial area. How can God trust you with greater influence? September may have carried opportunities disguised in small tasks, but because they seemed insignificant, they were ignored. In reality, those tasks were preparation for promotion. Preparation requires intentional action. It is not passive waiting, but active readiness. Noah into a controversial area. Noah built the ark before there was a drop of rain. David practiced with his sling in the field before standing before Goliath. I went to a controversial area. The disciples prepared the upper room before the Holy Spirit descended. I want to weigh again into a controversial area. Every great move of God requires human preparation. Blessings are not accidents. I want to weigh again into their responses to readiness. Beloved, God is faithful. His promises are true. But He will never pour new wine into old wineskins. The question is not whether God has blessings for you. The question is whether your life has been prepared to carry them. September weighed again into as a month of potential, but potential is only realized when it meets preparation. I want to wade again into a controversial area. Do not be like the man who prays for a job but never updates his skills, or the believer who prays for healing but never honors their body. I want to a controversial area. Faith without preparation is presumption. If you feel still September's blessing passed you by, do not despair. Preparation or today positions you for tomorrow's release. October and the months ahead can still deliver what you missed if you begin now. I want to start cultivating new habits, enlarging your habits, enlarging your vision, disciplining your life. I want to weigh again into a controversial area and making room in your heart. Expectation without preparation is empty hope, but when faith is matched with readiness, but when faith is, massings become inevitable. God is not slow in fulfilling His word. He is waiting into a controversial you to prepare the ground so that when the rain comes, your harvest will be undeniable. Unforgiveness is undeniable. And one of the greatest thieves of blessings, silently robbing many believers of what God has already released. It is not always the enemy outside that hinders us, but the enemy inside, bitterness, resentment into a controversial area, and offense locked away in the heart. Many people prayed and believed throughout September, yet when the month ended into a controversial area, they looked back with disappointment because the breakthrough never manifested. I want to wade again into a controversial area. The heavens were open, the blessing was ready, but the heart was closed. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the flow of God's favor, and without it, spiritual pipes become clogged. You cannot hold onto offense and expect the free flow of heaven's goodness into your life. Unforgiveness is like carrying a weight on your back. It slows your walk, drains your strength, and distracts your focus. You may not even realize how heavy it is till you try to run around your destiny and find yourself stuck. God commands us to forgive, not to ease the burden of the offender, but to release us from the prison of bitterness. When you refuse to forgive, you are like a prisoner and the jailer at the same time. You build the cell into a controversial area, lock the door, and hold the key. I want you to a controversial area, yet wonder why you cannot walk freely into your blessing. Some missed their blessing September, because offense blinded their eyes. They were so to a controversial area. They were so focused on what someone did to them that they could not see what God was doing for them. Anger consumes attention. Resentment occupies mental space. Instead of perceiving new opportunities, the heart was rehearsing old wounds. And while the blessing arrived, I want to wade again into a controversial area. The person was too distracted by pain to recognize it into a controversial area. A blessing unrecognized is as good as a blessing missed. Unforgiveness also blocks prayer. Jesus taught clearly that when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, I want to wade to a controversial area. Forgive them so your Father in heaven may forgive you. When prayers are hindered, blessings are delayed. Some cried out for open doors in September, but kept closed doors in their hearts. God's forgiveness flows freely, but He expects us to release others in the same measure. How to wade again into it? Can we ask for mercy while refusing to show mercy? The measure we use is the measure returned to us. Bitterness is a poison that spreads silently. It does not stay in one corner of the heart. It seeps into relationships, attitudes, and even health. Medical studies confirm that's forgiveness and unbitterness and unforgiveness can affect blood pressure, stress levels, and overall well-being. Spiritually, it corrodes joy and steals peace. You cannot truly enjoy a blessing if your heart is infected with bitterness. Even if God releases it, unforgiveness makes it impossible to fully receive or appreciate it. September, a controversial area, may have carried blessings, but for some, I want to weigh again into a bitterness of past wounds contaminated the new thing God wanted to do. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting the offense or mean offense or pretending it never happened. It means choosing to release the offender from the debt they owe you. I want to wade into a controversial area. It is deciding that their actions will not control your future. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is strength. It takes more power to release than to retaliate. When you forgive, you create space in your heart for God to pour fresh oil. When you hold on, your hands are too full of the past to grasp the future. Some blessings come disguised as relationships, partnerships, or connections. But if you carry unforgiveness, you sabotage new opportunities. People sense bitterness. It leaks out in conversations, reactions, and attitudes. You may not intend it, but the controversial area, but the poison of unforgiveness can push away the very people God sent to bless you. September may have introduced a new person to your life into a controversial area, but offense from an old wound could have caused mistrust, making you miss the blessing wrapped in that relationship. Forgiveness is also prophetic. When you forgive, you declare into a controversial area, you declare that your destiny is greater than your pain. I want to wade again into a controversial area. You announce to the enemy that you will not be trapped by yesterday because your eyes are fixed on tomorrow. Forgiveness is forward looking. Unforgiveness is backward living. Blessings flow in the direction of destiny, not history. If you live in yesterday, you cannot step fully into what God has for you today. One of the reasons many people missed and Brick and Triple missed their blessing in September, people is fixed in September is because they did not recognize it when it came. They were expecting something grand, something undramatic, something undeniable, but the blessing arrived disguised as a seed into a controversial area. God rarely delivers miracles in their finished form. He sends opportunities, relationships, ideas, and small beginnings. To the untrained eye, I want to wade again into a controversial area. These do not look like breakthroughs. They look like ordinary moments. But heaven always wraps extraordinary potential in ordinary packages. I want to weigh again into a controversial area. When you overlook the seed, you miss a harvest tied to it. Think of how God works throughout Scripture. When Israel cried out for deliverance, God did not send an army. He sent a baby named Moses. When the world needed a Savior, God did not send a warrior king in shining armor. He sent a child born in a manger. When the Philistines terrorized Israel, When the Philistines terrorized Israel, God did not send a giant bigger than Goliath. He sent a shepherd boy with a sling. Seeds never look like the fullness of the promise. They are small, fragile, and easy to dismiss. I want to wake in a controversial area, but hidden inside them is everything God has declared over your life. The blessing of September. The blessing of September may have been presented as a conversation, an introduction, a new responsibility, or even a challenge. If you wade again into a controversial area, if you were only looking for something large and obvious, want to wade again into a controversial area, you may have ignored the seed that carried your future. The problem is that many believers despise small beginnings. They look at the seed and say, "This is not what I prayed for. They forget that an oak tree begins as an acorn. I want to weigh in a controversial area. The harvest you are expecting does not arrive overnight. It begins in hidden form. Seeds require faith because when you receive them, they do not look like what you asked for. They require patience. They require patience because you must nurture them before they produce. They require vision because you must see beyond the present form to the future potential. If you lacked faith, patience, or vision in September, it is likely that your blessing passed you by disguised as something insignificant. Seeds also require work. A field of seed does not look into a controversial area. A field of seed does not look like a harvest until it's cultivated. I want to wade again into a controversial area. Many want the blessing, but not the labor that accompanies it. You asked God for increase, and He gave you an idea. Instead of developing it, you dismissed it. You prayed for financial breakthrough. One gained into a controversial area, and He gave you an opportunity to start small, but you said it was beneath you. I want to weigh again into a pride for promotion. You prayed for promotion, and He gave you extra responsibilities, but you to a controversial area. Instead of excelling, seeds will always test your attitude before they manifest into harvest. The one to wade again into a controversial area, the way you handle little determines if God can trust you with much. Another reason blessings disguised as seeds are missed is impatience. Some received a seed in September but abandoned it because it did not sprout overnight. Seeds require time. A farmer does not plant today and reap tomorrow. He waits, waters, nurtures, and trusts the process. In the same way, your September blessing may have been a seed meant to grow in October, November, into a controversial area or beyond. If you gave up too quickly, you uprooted what God was trying to develop. Many never see the fullness of their blessing because they abandon the seed stage. They want a controversial area, the fruit without the process. But every harvest demands time in the ground. Seeds also demand discernment. A controversial area, not everything small is insignificant, and not everything big is a blessing. God often hides His greatest treasures in things that seem ordinary. Jesus Himself was rejected by many because He looked too ordinary. They could not see the divinity wrapped in humanity. In the same way, I want to wade again into a controversial September blessing may have looked too common, too simple, too unimpressive, and so you dismissed it. Without discernment, you will chase appearances and miss assignments. The question is not, does it look like a blessing, but what is God saying about it? Consider also that seeds require stewardship. If God gives you a seed and you neglect it, you disqualify yourself from greater blessings. Seeds are given to be cultivated, not hoarded. The parable of the talent into a controversial area. The parable of the talents, that increase comes to those who invest and multiply what they are given. The one who buried his talent lost it. In September, I went into a controversial area. God may have entrusted you with something small to test your stewardship. If you ignored it, complained about it, or refused to invest in it, you may have missed the blessing it carried. Beloved, do not despise seeds. Do not look down on small beginnings. Do not miss opportunities because they look insignificant. Your miracle rarely arrives fully grown. It comes wrapped in a seed. If you will water it with prayer, Nurture it with obedience. I want to wade again into a controversial area and guard it with patience. You will see the harvest in due season. Into a controversial area, September's blessing may not have been lost. It may still be lying dormant in the seed you overlooked. Go back, examine the conversations you had, the opportunities you ignored, the doors you thought were too small, and you may discover the seed God sent. Into a controversial area, remember, the difference